A man in a dark jacket appears on every doorbell camera in a quiet suburban street. But no one in the neighborhood has ever met him. In Frisco, Texas, families start sharing ring clips of the same stranger standing on the sidewalk at 3:17 a.m., always in front of houses that are about to go up for sale. His face is never clear. His body never moves. And after he shows up, the owners suddenly accept lowball offers and leave within days. When Marcus checks an old HOA PDF, he finds a rule that makes his blood run cold. Residents must keep lights on between 3 o'clock and 3:30 a.m. and never open the door if they observe the designated individual on camera. The HOA isn't protecting them, just working with him. Marcus moves to a new city, new building, new neighbors. But his new doorbell app has the same rule. And at 3:17 a.m., the same dark figure is now standing outside his new door. My name is Marcus Webb. I'm 41, work in commercial real estate for a firm in Dallas, and I've lived in Cottonwood Crest for 6 years. It's the kind of neighborhood you move to when you want your life to feel settled. Tree-lined streets, HOA rules about lawn height, a community app where people post about lost cats and recommend contractors. Nothing unsettling ever happens here. If you're new here, this is Trigger of Madness, where ordinary places hide extraordinary terror. We take modern urban folklore, neighborhood app horror stories, doorbell camera anomalies, and turn them into deeply disturbing true-style horror experiences that mess with the way you see your own street. Here, the haunted house isn't abandoned. It's the one next to yours. And the entity isn't in the walls. It's in your security footage. Before we go deeper, ground yourself in your own reality for a moment. Comment where you're watching from, city and country, and tell me, have you ever seen something on your doorbell camera that didn't make sense? A stranger standing still for too long? A figure that didn't trigger motion alerts? A timestamp that felt wrong? Smash that subscribe button and hit the bell. You won't want to miss what's coming next. The most chilling stories and local urban legends you share below get featured in future videos. Yours could be next. The first thing I noticed was that the HOA had changed the rules. Not in a dramatic way. Just a quiet update to the neighborhood app on a Tuesday morning, buried under a notice about a water main replacement. New community guidelines. Please do not approach unfamiliar individuals on sidewalks between 3 a.m. and 3:30 a.m. If you observe someone in this time frame, please report via the app and remain indoors. This is for community safety. No explanation. No context. I texted my neighbor Derek Chin from 4847 Cottonwood, the first house where the figure appeared. Did you see the HOA message? I wrote. His response came back in seconds. Yeah, weird, right? I asked the HOA president about it. She said it was just a precautionary measure, and not to worry. That's when I decided to check the neighborhood app's archive posts. What I found was unsettling. Going back 3 months, there were dozens of deleted threads. The titles were still visible in the search function, but the content was gone. Who is the man in the dark jacket? Why does he always appear before houses sell? My ring caught him again, same exact position as last week. HOA refuses to comment on the 317 sightings. My family is leaving. We can't stay here anymore. Someone had systematically scrubbed the app of any discussion about the figure. But the timestamps remained. And I noticed a pattern. Every single house where he appeared on doorbell footage had sold within 2 weeks. Not for full asking price. Below market value. Families listing with vague reasons, unexpected job transfer, family emergency, just decided to relocate. By the time I'd connected the dots, there were 5 empty houses on our street. 5 families gone. 5 for sale signs. And the unseen neighbor had appeared on every single one. I did what any reasonable person wouldn't do. I went looking for him. Not physically. Online. I joined a private Reddit community called r/doorbell anomalies and posted a screenshot from Derek's ring footage. The figure's face blurred, but the timestamp and location visible. Within an hour, I had 17 responses. Most were skeptics. Compression artifact, pareidolia, someone pranking your neighbor. But 3 responses made me stop scrolling. The first was from a user in Sheffield, England. I've seen this exact figure in footage from our neighborhood. Same jacket. Same stance. Same time, always 3:17 a.m. local time, which is 9:17 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. He appeared on 4 houses before they all went into foreclosure. The second was from Sydney. We call him the listing man in our community groups. Every time he shows up, the house gets marked for sale within days. The real estate agents won't talk about it, but it's like he's scouting, evaluating, deciding which homes are worth emptying. The third response was just a link to a Google Maps satellite image of a cul-de-sac in Naperville, Illinois, with a single comment: count the empty houses. Then count how many times he's appeared in the neighborhood app. The numbers match. Always. I clicked the link. The satellite image showed a street almost identical to mine. Tree-lined, suburban, peaceful. But in the comments section of the Reddit post, someone had overlaid a timeline. 43 doorbell sightings over 18 months. 37 houses sold or foreclosed. The math didn't add up to coincidence. Then I found something worse. A post from a user named @PropertyShift who claimed to work in real estate data analysis. I've been tracking this phenomenon for 2 years across North America. The pattern is consistent. Neighborhoods with high HOA activity and ring/nest camera saturation are experiencing accelerated turnover. In affected areas, average home tenure has dropped from 7.2 years to 2.1 years. The trigger appears to be a single entity or coordinated group appearing in doorbell footage at specific times. After appearance, property values drop 18 to 23% within 30 days. That's when I realized the HOA wasn't trying to protect us. They were trying to manage him. I pulled up the HOA bylaws, the full unredacted version, which I found in an archived PDF on the community website. Buried in Section 12, subsection F, was a clause I'd never noticed. Residents are advised to maintain interior lighting during designated hours, 3 a.m. to 3:30 a.m., and to refrain from opening doors or windows during this period. Failure to comply may result in fines or community sanctions. Additionally, any resident who observes the designated individual on their property camera feed is required to report said observation to the HOA within 24 hours and must not discuss the matter with other residents or on community platforms. It wasn't phrased as a safety measure. It was phrased as an obligation, a rule, a contract. When I called the HOA president, Linda Hartley, she was eerily calm. "Marcus, I'd prefer if you didn't ask questions about that particular rule," she said, her voice steady in a way that suggested she'd had this conversation before. What is he?" I asked. There was a long pause. "He's not a he, exactly," she said finally. "And he's not here to hurt anyone. He's here to assess. The neighborhood has an agreement. We follow the rules, he follows his schedule, and the community stays stable." Stable? I nearly laughed. Derek's house is empty. The Patel's house is empty. Half the street is turning over. "Yes," she said. "And new families move in. The cycle continues. It's been this way for longer than you've lived here, Marcus. It's been this way for longer than I've lived here." "How long?" I pressed. She didn't answer directly. "The HOA was established in 1987, she said instead. "The first documented sighting was in 1989. We've learned to live with it, to manage it, to accept that some neighborhoods are transitional. That's not a curse, Marcus. That's just reality. And if someone refuses to leave, if they stay," another pause, "then they experience what we call the persistence phase. The figure stops appearing on camera, but other things start happening. Doors that won't lock. Windows that open on their own. The feeling of being watched in your own home. Footsteps in hallways when no one else is home. Sleep deprivation. Paranoia. Most families break within 3 months." She hung up. That night, I did something I shouldn't have. I set my phone to record at 3:10 a.m. and positioned it by my front window, lens pointed at the sidewalk. At 3:17 a.m. he appeared. Not on the ring footage. In real life. Standing directly in front of my house. Face turned slightly away from the window as if he could feel me watching. His jacket was darker than in any of the doorbell videos. Not black, but a color that seemed to absorb light. His hands hung at his sides, perfectly still. He stood there for exactly 4 minutes. Then he turned his head just slightly and looked directly at my window. I couldn't see his face. The darkness was too complete. But I felt the weight of his attention like pressure against the glass. When he finally walked away, I checked my phone. The recording had failed to save. The file was corrupted, showing only static and timestamp errors. But the ring footage from my own doorbell had captured him perfectly. And in the neighborhood app, a new post had appeared from an unknown account. "Welcome to the observation list, Marcus. Your assessment begins soon." 3 days later, I received an offer on my house. Not from a buyer. From a real estate investment firm in Houston, offering 30% below market value, cash, closing in 7 days. The letter included a single line: "This is a final offer. It will not be repeated." I called Derek. "Did you get one?" I asked. "Yeah," he said quietly. "I'm taking it. I can't live like this anymore." Every night, wondering if he's going to appear. Every morning, checking the app to see if anyone else saw him. "Derek, we need to figure out what's happening. We need to." "Marcus, stop," he interrupted. I talked to Linda again. She told me something. The people who don't take the offer, who don't leave, they don't disappear. But their families do. Slowly. Divorces. Kids moving away. Parents getting sick. Suicides. It's like the house becomes empty even when people are living in it. He paused. "I'm selling. I suggest you do the same." He hung up. I sat in my living room for a long time, staring at the offer letter. 30% below market. 7 days. Final offer. At 3:15 a.m., my doorbell rang. Not a motion alert. An actual ring, the chime echoing through my empty house. I looked at the ring footage on my phone. He was standing at my door, face still turned away, but now his hand was raised, finger extended toward the doorbell button. In the timestamp, it read 3:17 a.m. On my phone's clock, it was 3:14 a.m. 3 minutes ahead. The same way the first videos had been off. The same way the corrupted file had shown timestamp errors. He wasn't just appearing in doorbell footage. He was existing in a time that was slightly out of sync with ours. And he was assessing which houses would empty themselves. I took the offer. I'm writing this from an apartment in Austin, Texas, 3 hours away from Cottonwood Crest. I told myself I needed distance. A fresh start. A place where I could forget about the figure in the dark jacket and the neighborhood app that seemed to know things before they happened. But last week I got a notification on my phone. A new neighborhood app for the apartment complex where I'm living. And in the community feed, a post from an unknown account. "Welcome to the observation list. Your assessment continues." Attached was a doorbell camera screenshot from the building's main entrance. A man in a dark jacket, standing perfectly still, facing the camera. Timestamp, 3:17 a.m. The same figure. The same time. A different city. I haven't slept since. Because I realized something. He's not scouting houses. He's scouting people. And once you're on his list, you don't escape by moving. You just bring the pattern with you. If you made it this far, you're brave, but this is just the beginning. Like this video if your skin is crawling. Comment what you would do in my place. Would you take the offer and run, or would you stay and try to understand what he really is? Drop your city and country in the comments, and tell me if your own neighborhood has strange rules you've never understood. Any HOA guidelines that feel off. Any doorbell footage you've never quite explained. Any 3:17 a.m. sightings. The most chilling stories get featured in future videos. Turn on notifications. Our next story drops Wednesday at 9 p.m. EST, and it's happening in a place you visit every single day without thinking about who might be watching. And if you decide to check your doorbell camera tonight at 3:17 a.m., just to prove this is all fiction, do yourself one favor. Don't look too closely at the timestamp, because if it's even 1 second off from your phone's clock, you already know what that means. You're already on the list. The assessment has already begun. And he's already watching.